Hey guys, welcome to our new episode of FemFlex Friday. And today, continuing a trend we started, we want to talk about bodybuilding and what does it mean as a sport in somebody's life. Again, we have a wonderful example, right, telling us what bodybuilding means in her life. In our new rising star in women's bodybuilding, Tampa champion, Chelsea Dion. Chelsea, welcome to our show.
Hello guys, I am so honored to be here. I'm already feeling emotional just hearing the Tampa Pro win.
You're just 6 days as we shoot this.
Yes.
6 days past your win, and that was amazing. You came in great, beautiful shape, right? After
Best I've ever
Chicago.
looked. Yes.
Yeah, so it was worth it, right? Like you
100%.
wouldn't change anything from Chicago to Tampa. Like you are the Tampa Pro.
Yes.
Linda,
champion.
how would you comment? Because you did the wrap up. What were your commentaries on her physique in Tampa?
Yeah. Well, like I was so pleased. Just like I look for that person that belongs on the Olympia stage. And for me, seeing you in Chicago, there was no question about it. And it was really nice in Tampa that you were in the first call out and they didn't move you, which was like so awesome. And you're the example. Your structure, your size, complete package from head to toe. So for me, it was like no question.
And you are one of the tallest competitors in the women's bodybuilding division. How tall are you?
I'm 5'9". I was actually
that's
surprised.
quite tall.
Yeah.
I was surprised that some of the other girls were just as tall as I was, because I expected to be up there and there was a bunch of short girls, but no, Sheena is my height, a few of the other girls, and yeah, going from Chicago to Tampa, I got my first show nerves out. And also being that I go by Chelsea Dion, which is my middle name. I was the first athlete up for Tampa. So my mindset was everybody has to follow me now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to set the tone, and so everybody's got to follow my performance. So I went up there, I just was as confident as I could have been, and it couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I do believe that behind, any champion, right, there is not only a team, but there is also the story, right? So I want to hear your story. That's why we have you here. We want to hear the story of your life and what bodybuilding did to you and how it brought you where you are. And we know that it's going to take you even higher. But tell us a little bit about your childhood, your teenage time. How was that like?
Well, actually, I grew up doing pageants first. When I was younger, a child, I did pageants, which got me into getting an agent, which got me doing commercials and cool stuff like that. And then my father went to prison, unfortunately, and so that moved us from out of the area and into a very small town. And that's when I found sports. So I started playing softball when I was 8, 9. And from there, it was softball all year round. So I played softball from when I was younger, all through high school. I played first base, pitcher, played travel ball everywhere. I also played tennis as well. Tennis was also one that I excelled at. I actually went to college for a semester for tennis, realized I didn't really I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. So I'm like, why am I even in college right now? So scratch that. And then I actually started partying a lot.
So you turned a teenager time, going to a teenage.
So after I decided to no longer play tennis, I moved in with some of my girlfriends who were older than me, and they were out going to the bars and stuff like that. So of course I was sneaking in with them, partying all night. And next thing I knew, I went from, I don't even know how much I weighed when I was an athlete, but I've always been bigger boned, muscular. I remember being in 7th grade, like playing on the volleyball team, and I was wearing shorts, and I remember flexing my leg and having like some muscle definition, and one of the girls being like, "What is wrong? Like, why does your leg look like that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I just remember also too, growing up, going through my mother's Cosmopolitan magazines and trying to rip out all the exercises for smaller legs, toners, tummy. Yeah, I was always so self-conscious of how muscular and big my legs were, when I didn't know how much of a blessing that was. You know?
Oh yeah.
If only I knew back then.
Yes.
So you ended up gaining a lot of weight, you said, as a teenager as a result of partying.
Yep. So I was probably like, I was 20 at this time, and just not happy. And one night I got just a bunch of text messages from all these random phone numbers that I didn't know, just saying all these mean things, telling me I was an embarrassment and I should go kill myself because I got so fat. And
Really?
And I remember laying in bed and just crying myself to sleep. And that's really like the moment where I was like, I want to change. Like, I need to change. Just thinking about it makes me emotional. My roommate at the time, she remembers this day so vividly. She just came and got in bed with me and just like let me cry. And
so how old were you?
I was
around
20.
what age? You were 20?
1920.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? Pardon my French, fuck this place. Why am I here in this small town? My grandma always told me that, you know, you're too big for this town. You need to get out one day. And so I went on, I think it was like Craigslist at the time, and I was looking for cheaper rent either in San Diego or San Francisco. And the cheapest rent I found was San Diego. So 2 weeks later, I'd already quit my jobs. I packed up and moved. And
To San Diego? And is this where you started lifting?
This is when I really started. So after I got those text messages, I was like, I got to change something. So I went and I found, I think it was Jamie Easton's book on clean eating, something like that. So I bought that book and I was like, I don't know where to start, but I think this is where I'm going to start. I know I got to change my diet. I know I got to change just the way I'm eating. Because even then I was working out. I've always loved to train, but my nutrition obviously was never there. So moved to San Diego, had like $100 in my account, and $70 of it went towards a gym membership.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I remember the first week living there. Yeah, the first week living there, I remember buying like some bananas, Top Ramen, and a new Oxygen magazine, because that's what really...
Oxygen magazine.
Yes.
Oxygen,
Oxygen magazine was my goal. Like, I wanted to be on the cover of Oxygen magazine one day. In the very back, they had a competitor's corner where they would show like the figure girls. And I just like, I didn't know what that really was, but I was like, this is like a beauty pageant.
Yeah, because Oxygen mostly predominantly figure bikini competitors, right? So that was your, it's like your mom's magazine of Cosmopolitan. You were initially just automatically drawn to that physique, that look.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know where to start, but I think one day I want to compete. And I used to tell people that in my hometown, and they're like, what? What's that? Like, I'm like, don't worry.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I know that you got married at some point. Was it here in San Diego?
It was in San Diego, yeah.
Okay.
Once I moved
How
to San
many
Diego,
years have you been married for?
We were married for like 3 years, I believe. I met him when I moved down to San Diego. He was in the military. So, and he was also very much into fitness too.
So he was supportive of lifting and
always been
working
with
out.
Partners who've been very supportive.
If California is very supportive. Anything health and fitness.
Anything fitness.
So you meet somebody, most likely they're
So in the middle of all
realm.
this, when did you decide to compete?
So honestly, ever since I moved to San Diego, the goal was to compete. So I moved there 2011. I had a coach actually reach out to me on Instagram and was like, you have great potential. I would love to help you get on stage. And so he really kind of helped me get to my first show, which was the Tournament of Champions in 2014, where I did women's physique.
Okay, I think we have a picture of that.
my very first show, I'm in a zebra bikini.
Oh, yes, yes.
That was such an amazing experience because that was the only show that my mother and my grandma got to see me at. Because in 2015, my grandma ended up passing.
And I know that we do have a picture of that as well.
Yes.
I know that that was an important moment for you
very
because
important moment.
you lost both your
both
mother
passed
and your grandmother.
Yes.
And that was the first time you said when they could be together and see one of your shows, right?
Oh, great.
Yes, just because they knew how much I wanted to compete and get on stage, and they knew how important it was to me. So them being there for that first show and seeing what my life was going to be about is just such a special, special moment.
Yeah, I know we have a picture of that as well.
So I'm sure your mom helped as far as like pageantry. So you said you started in pageants.
Yes, I did.
So you love the stage.
I love the stage. I love to get glammed. I love to take pictures. I love the whole process of like the beautification, I guess. Yeah, my mother would be so proud.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. Like when I think about how connecting all the dots, starting out being an athlete, loving, that, and then doing pageants, being on stage, and we do that when we look at what we do.
Yeah.
It's a pageant, right? Because it's like the hair and the makeup, the way you walk,
ourselves.
So it's like all the dots just connected
It's
to
true.
bring you.
Yeah.
And then, so 2014 was your first show, and then between 2014 and 2020, 2021, you turned pro.
2021, I turned pro.
How did you compete in all these years? What happened?
So after my show in 2014, my husband at the time deployed on a 9-month deployment, literally a week later. So imagine being so strict, on a diet, and then competing, and then allowing yourself to eat, and then having nobody to tell you, hey, maybe you shouldn't eat a whole box of cereal before bed. I put on 50 pounds in like a month and a half. It was it was really bad.
So would you think that this is associated with a sort of depression and being down, right? I mean, your husband left.
I wouldn't necessarily.
You didn't realize what's happening. Why do you think that? Okay, it didn't sink in with you that the body can do that so fast, right?
I couldn't control myself.
So this was after the competition,
Yep, so
right?
this was after the very first show.
And that was your first, and so what we go through, you were experiencing that.
But I'm really
going
curious.
from one extreme to the next.
Do you have any eating disorders in the past, or relationship with the food in a way?
I joke.
As a teenager?
I joke about like when I'd first, when I'd put on all the weight initially, before I got into fitness, I used to joke like, oh, I wish I could just like make myself throw up, but I just couldn't do that. So my problem was, even as a child, because I can remember instances where I would just go into the kitchen and just devour whatever was in the cabinet, and I would hide the trash, I always kind of had that in me.
So it's like binging, right?
Yeah, the binging, the sneak eating. That was something I've always dealt with as a child. But yeah, after that first show, it was bad. I would drive to Walmart at all hours and go get my favorite bag of trail mix and eat the whole thing. And then some other stuff, So the binge eating was definitely a huge factor for all that weight.
But I like how you express, how you talk about it was, right?
It was.
Which tells me that right now your mindset is changed and it's different, right?
Oh, yeah.
And at what point did that change?
Definitely after, you know what, it probably changed after USA's in 2020. Because at that point, everything in my life had kind of gotten more settled.
Okay.
I kind of established myself a little bit more. I had my own place. I just kind of realized that like, if this is where my life is gonna go, I need to change something.
Was it because you were identifying yourself more and more to being a bodybuilder as well?
Yes. It was basically, bodybuilding has become my life to where it is the only thing I have but to be good at. Like, if I'm not good at it, I don't have anything else. So I think I realized that, and I realized my potential, and I realized that food will always be there. It's always going to be there.
I love that.
Yeah, food will always be there.
It will. And, you know, your goals aren't always going to be there at the right time. So I just realized that I need to stop getting out of my own way and just suck it up. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stop and come back, take a quick break, and resume and learn more about your diet and how you did get out of your own way.
Perfect.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else, every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
Back in the studio with Chelsea Dion. Chelsea, we were talking about big amounts of food, right? Binging, enjoying food, and realizing at some point that, you know, the food will always be there. But along these lines, you know, with a lot of food comes a lot of strength. Have you ever tried anything to do with strengths? Are you strong? Like, judging by your structure, you should.
Yeah. Usually girls who are big like me, we're all kind of strong. So
Kind of strong.
one thing that, you know, besides never being able to get my diet on point, I always trained very hard. And so I felt like where I was lacking in the diet, I was trying to overcompensate in the gym. So I was like, if I'm gonna eat like shit, at least I'm gonna train like a beast, you know?
Yeah.
And so I did. I trained so hard all the time. And one day that kind of led me to doing my first powerlifting meet.
Oh, okay.
I had met a gentleman, and he was owned a supplement store, and he was like, we were talking about my bench, because I was just saying like, oh yeah, like I'm benching like 225 easy. And he's like, have you ever done a powerlifting meet? And I was like, no, I would like to one day. And he's like, well, there's this old employee of mine who's been training for this powerlifting meet for a long time. And he was like, you want to enter it and just to beat her? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm down to do a powerlifting meet. And he's like, I'll sponsor you, I'll pay for it, whatever, but it's on Saturday. And this was like on a Sunday.
Oh God. So you had a week to get
6-day
ready.
preparation. And I was like, okay. He's like, just show up, I'll take care of you, and you know, we'll do this. So I show up to this USPA powerlifting meet. I show up to check-ins, they're like, where's your gear? And I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to bring any gear. And so they're like, all right, where do you want to start your your openers? I was like, okay, I know I could bench 225, I know I could squat 315, I know I could deadlift 315, so let's just start there. So I go into this powerlifting meet with no idea what to expect. And I ended up taking the overall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We want to see a picture of that.
So, yeah.
Look how big this girl was.
Yeah, I didn't.
How much were you weighing in those pictures?
I weighed in at 221.
221. And what was your stage weight last weekend?
166 or 163.
There you go.
I never, ever thought I would weigh that little.
Really?
Yes.
You were 40 pounds heavier then.
It's
60
amazing.
pounds, not 40, right? 60
Yeah.
pounds. Wow.
I was, let's see, a couple pounds lighter than at Tampa than I was at Chicago too. So.
Okay.
That's amazing. So congratulations. You're a powerlifting champion as well.
Yeah. So after that first powerlifting meet, I was like, maybe I should dabble more in this. So I said, okay, let me do another powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
And when I was married, I used to train at this one gym on base where they had a powerlifting meet every year. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do that powerlifting meet. And so I did. I competed also super heavyweight. I took that one as well. I won, which qualified me for nationals. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start actually training powerlifting. Let me start doing a training.
And was this at the time when you moved back with your mom?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
This was, yes, it was. Yeah, so this was after I had left my husband at the time. I had moved back home with no idea what the heck I was going to do for a job. Had no money coming in, but my mom was like, you know, it wouldn't hurt to come back home for a little bit. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll come back home. Because I was like robbed at a gas station in North Carolina, and I was like, why am I still here? This place sucks.
So you go from San Diego back to North Carolina.
So San Diego, I ended up in North Carolina because he got stationed out there.
Okay.
And then you went back home in California.
Fayetteville. I know the
Vietnam.
So he's Army.
Yeah, he was actually Marine Corps, but he was one of the only people qualified for this job out there. So,
and then from North Carolina, you moved back to California with your mom, where you were doing the powerlifting meets, correct?
I was doing powerlifting, yes.
And then you kept on winning this powerlifting meets, which because you are so strong, as we can obviously see in these pictures. But I know that your mom got sick at the same time when you were in town, right?
We actually didn't know at that time yet that she was sick. So this was early 2017. I was only home for a brief period of time, couple months, and then I decided to move to LA with my boyfriend. Moving to LA was great because it got me in with Eva Jin, and I met Hani Rambod and stuff like that. And so after this the second powerlifting meet, where I decided I was going to start actually training for nationals, Hani Rambod was like, hey, I'd like to see you, you know, a little bit leaner. Let's send me your diet. Let me make some changes. And I was like, when Hani Rambod is offering to do that, you listen. So he changed my diet and the weight started falling off me.
Okay.
Yeah, he put me on keto and it worked really well.
So how was how were you mentally prepared to go through this at that time? What did it mean to you to lose all that weight and figure out that you have all those tools to be in control of your physique?
I was like, wow, I want to get back on stage. Like, I don't like this powerlifting training thing. It hurts my body too much. I've always loved bodybuilding training. Always.
So at this point, you had so embraced being muscular and getting attention. Like you commanded more, right? Being this muscular woman versus just like the person you saw in Cosmopolitan. Or even in Oxygen.
Honestly, I've always been bigger. And so I've always only had the option but to embrace myself. It's taken a lot of work over the years, especially, but I'm a huge believer in positive affirmations, in visualizing. If you look on my Instagram, every single post of mine you will see, the very first hashtag I put is hashtag I am confident, because that's me wiring my own brain to stay confident.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, you have a big build, you know, like you are a true women's bodybuilding athlete, and that's what it is. And then you can change the body's composition, right? You can determine if it's going to be fat or muscles, and you have the tools to do that. And it's beautiful that you embraced it, because honestly, like even, let's say if we stop training hard, our body is never gonna go small. We're never gonna go to a cosmopolitan model size, right? It's always gonna be big, and then it's up to us to decide what kind of composition do we want this body to be.
And I'm thankful for it because I feel like I've used it to my advantage. I've done a lot of awesome opportunities and a lot of cool things because I'm a muscular woman.
So you do more modeling now than you would have.
So what happened? What was your next show?
Physique.
Yep, exactly. So once I realized, okay, I'm losing weight, because for those 4 years, my body just fought me. Also, I wasn't doing what I should have been doing. So once I started losing that weight, and I was like, all right, I want to get back on stage. This was early 2017. And then September, my mom was like, you know, things aren't, I'm kind of having some stomach issues. We don't really know what's going on. And I was like, okay, well, just let me know. And by the end of October, She was hospitalized at UCLA, which I just happened to be so close to that hospital because I was living in LA. And they told us that it was stage 4 stomach cancer and that she didn't have long. So I'm thankful for the universe for bringing me back to California, living with my mother again for the first time since I was 19 years old, and letting us have that time together before she got sick. She ended up passing end of November of 2017.
Sorry about that.
And it's okay. Honestly, when I think about it now, and I think about everything that we're going through with how COVID and how the world has changed so much, and not having my mom or my grandma, like, I'm glad they didn't have to deal with that crap because that was just a mess.
Yeah, a mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they are with me every moment of every day, and I just try to remember that.
So moving into your shows,
Yes.
the nationals, right? When did you turn pro in 21? Was there
Yes.
any national competitions before that for you?
Yeah, I did in 2018. I got back on stage in July and did the LA Championships. Took first because I think there was nobody in my class. Yeah. So I was like, all right, let's do our first national show. So I did Nationals 2018, where Andrea Shaw was also did women's physique too.
Okay.
And I took very last place. The last place.
What was the issue at that moment? Do you
I
think?
was not lean at all.
Okay, so you were not in like really tight shape.
No.
Did you have a trainer at that time?
Yeah, I was working with Physique Inc. for that.
And what do you think that it's just your body needed more time to diet that down, or were you not adhering to your diet?
It was the combination of things. It was, I think that I was on my diet, but like it just it wasn't right.
You're probably not in the right mental space, right?
I wasn't
for that.
either. No. I was focused on other people and not focused on me. And with bodybuilding, unfortunately, it is very selfish, and we have to be focused on ourselves. And I also think that's where I really lacked on all the other shows, is because I always focused on someone else.
Yeah, so when you say someone else, do you mean
Whether a partner,
a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or whatever?
partner, yeah. I'm just like, I love like being in a relationship, and my problem is I always care so much about my other partner that I neglect myself.
Yeah, so have you found yourself with partners that connect and really understand and allow you to flourish, or did you find you were ever in a relationship where there was some resistance to what you were doing?
There was some resistance with one, which once we broke up, that's when I was like, I'm getting back on stage for sure. That was 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. And then going into Nationals 2018, I was dating a competitor as well. And so the focus was like more, I was focused on him too.
That's always
Even
the
though I was
difference. Yeah,
competing
when
too.
your partner is competing, then I always ask competitors, how do you do that?
Yeah, that was
It's
hard.
Yeah.
But now
And I do think it is tough with men because I think you guys are crybabies.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
So now I am with my boyfriend. He just did his first show in May. But things with him and I are so different because he's taught me how to diet better, I guess. For it being his first show, he's more on point than any bodybuilder I've ever been with.
This
That's
is awesome.
awesome.
I love that.
Awesome.
And it does sound like it's a new phase in your life,
Yeah.
right? And I want to talk more about this phase of your life after this commercial break. And we're back here with Chelsea Dion, and we were just talking about this amazing new phase in your life where we've seen you flourishing. And you were talking to us about your boyfriend, your current boyfriend, which is a great supporter, right? And the supporter of the lifestyle as well.
Yes. Yeah. So he is a previous addict who turned to bodybuilding to just get away from the people he needed to get away from.
Oh,
right?
this is great.
And so he's always trained and always like stuck to a diet. And when him and I met, this was, we just came up on our 1 year anniversary. And he jokes that, oh, you used to weigh more than me when we first met. And now here you are qualified for the Olympia. Like, did you ever imagine
Sweet.
I love that. It's the story within a story. It's what bodybuilding is to you and then what bodybuilding is to him. And then he came your way because he can strengthen your path with bodybuilding, right?
He has. He's really just helped me so much.
And how did his first show go?
He took fourth in his first show ever. Well, he took first in novice or whatever.
Okay.
He does men's classic.
Okay.
He came in shredded.
Wow.
He was the most shredded up there, and he got lots of compliments from everybody. But unfortunately, they went with a bigger, fuller look. That's okay. We know that he doesn't have to suffer as much this time.
Yeah.
So were you together with him when you turned pro in 2021?
Yes. So we started dating July of 2021.
You had a great shape winning that show too.
Yeah, it was where I did see my potential.
Yeah, we have a picture from that year.
My pink suit.
Yeah, your pink suit. I remember I saw this picture and I was like, somebody sent me a picture of you competing at nationals. I was like, this girl has potential.
Thank you.
That was
Beautiful
great.
look. Nice quads, flare on the quads, and waist.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was. I didn't expect to win the overall.
Yeah, how was that win for you?
I think I'm still like trying to believe that that's real. That was just in December.
Wow, and you go be in the Olympia.
I know.
It's been a crazy, amazing ride, but with being with Matt and him supporting me through that entire prep, one thing that I'm really thankful of is because of COVID, we've had to learn how to hustle, and that has allowed us to focus more and have the time to dedicate just our lives to bodybuilding.
Yeah. Psychologically, what did it change with you once you decided to be a bodybuilder compared to the phase before, right? And what improvements did it bring from that point of view?
I feel like I've always kind of had the mentality that like I am a bodybuilder. It was just a matter of like getting everything else just squared away so that I can truly just focus on bodybuilding.
So you mean no distractions, and it's a matter of focus for you to be focused on bodybuilding.
Yeah, where I'm not working 3 jobs, every day. It's nice. I can wake up on my schedule, go do my cardio, eat my meals every day, train at the same time every day.
So if I was to ask what is the biggest obstacle you've had in your career as a bodybuilder, all through since the beginning till now, right?
Yeah.
What would that be?
It was definitely in 2019. I was just in a spot where I was like, okay, maybe I can try to like compete again. I ran into one of my old coaches at the gym, and he was like, hey, I know things with us were kind of rocky, but I would love to help you get on stage again, but I want to see you do women's bodybuilding.
Okay.
And he's like, I'll coach you for free, let's do that. So I'm like, okay, sweet, let's get that started. That was November 19. Then December 2019, me and a bunch of friends got into a head-on collision while we were in a Lyft. And that totally set me back.
Did you get injured?
I had a concussion, some issues, but it mainly just like it takes so long for your body to recover from that impact. Because I felt like I was hit by a truck for a couple weeks. And that sent me really into like a deep depression. Because when training is your outlet for for everything, and you can't do that, it really, really affected me mentally. I remember sleeping for like 19 hours every day, couldn't get out of bed. I had a friend, thankfully, they were like, you should just go to the beach, go lay on the beach today. I was like, I would love to do that. I was like, I just can't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
So they were like, what time do you want to wake up tomorrow? I'm going to call you and make sure you're awake. And he did. He called me. I woke up, I went to the beach, and that was my first steps to taking control of my life.
So from that experience, what did you gain? Because a lot of times when we're in the valley, when something happens, a car accident or your mother's passing, it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So
I believe that everything happens for a reason, right? Every trial, every tribulation, every loss, every win, it is for a specific reason. And even when I'm dealing with all of the bullshit in my head, I always keep that in mind, that, right now might suck and right now might hurt, but it's all for a bigger purpose. I 100% believe in the universe providing. And I've always just known that the universe will take care of me as long as I just continue being a good person. I continue spreading positivity. I continue just being like a positive light. Even when those times are hard, I always really documented a lot on Instagram and shared so much of my story, just because I knew that, maybe somebody else is dealing with these things and are feeling this way.
That was the direction I wanted to go in. Yes, there are a lot of people that can relate, right?
So after Chicago, when you didn't walk away with that, it didn't. Tell us about that. Because I always think about that, sitting watching the show, and Alina and I, and it's like, because you were amazing in Chicago.
Thank you.
So how do you get from, redirecting and going into Tampa? You know what I mean? Tell us your feelings.
My thought process was just, for one, Angela was a freak. You can't do anything about that. If Angela wasn't there and it was just me and Sherry and Sheena, it probably would have been a little different on me mentally.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I knew that if they stood, because I was worried about Sherry.
Okay.
And going into Tampa, all I knew was I just want them to stand me and Sherry next to each other, because they didn't at Chicago.
Okay.
So my mentality was just keep pushing, just keep being confident, and just keep bringing a better package. And so that's really what my focus was. It was just keep on going, keep pushing, bring a tighter package, be more confident, just have better stage presence. Because right before I got on Tampa, or right before I got on stage at Chicago, the expediter was like, all right, you have a minute. And so I was like, in my head, I was preparing, I'm a pro. I have all the time I want up there. And so that totally messed with me. So I got up there and I was rushing. And so going into Tampa, I was like, I'm going to milk it. I'm going to flip my hair. I'm going to take my time. And so that really came across in the videos and stuff that you could see from Tampa.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
you have Olympia waiting for you right now,
you.
right? You have Rising Phoenix
Yes.
waiting for you right now. So then we are really excited to see the shape that Chelsea Dion is going to bring on stage in the end of the year.
I'm definitely excited to have a real off season though. After the Olympia, my plan for 2023 is to focus hard on putting on some density, some size, but I'm going to come back at the end of the year and compete for sure.
Oh yes, definitely. And now in the end, I would really like, if you have any word of advice, any source of inspiration that you can pass to the women that might be watching you right now? Because, like just following back how much confidence, how much purpose bodybuilding gave you, right, in life, how much structure, right? This is just really inspirational to me. This is what I love about bodybuilding, because this is what it did to me as well. So I can relate very well. If you can just pass this information to these girls, that I think that would be amazing.
I just think that if you want something, go for it wholeheartedly. Don't let anybody stop you, because there are going to be people out there who are going to say things. There are going to be people who are going to stare at you at the grocery store. There are going to be people everywhere who are going to say, that's manly. Like, why would you want to look like that? But you have to remember that that's their life and this is your life, and you should live the way that you want to live, right? Fuck everybody else.
Yes.
Do what makes you feel good inside. Do what is your calling. Do what you feel lights your soul on fire, and don't apologize for it. Just do it. Do it with love. Do it with grace. Be kind to other people, to other competitors. You might be on stage with them, competing against them, but at the end of the day, it's all about camaraderie as well. And when people can say, oh, she was a great competitor, but she was also a great person backstage, or was a great friend, on social media, to me, that's winning as well, to me. So yeah, just do what you want to do, and don't ever let anybody else have any say in what you want to do.
Thank you, Chelsea. That is beautiful.
Well said.
I love that. I love the confidence. I love the braveness. I love all of that. Definitely bodybuilding can be a beautiful tool that can turn our lives upside down and inside out.
For the best way possible.
For the best way possible. Very well said.
Yeah.
Didn't you just say that you're 100% a bodybuilder and your only choice
is to be good at bodybuilding?
There you go. I love that approach. Thank you guys for being here with us today, and we'll see you on our next episode of FemFlex Friday.